Okay, welcome back. I'm back with Love is Blind UK five to nine, episodes 5 to 9. Um, it starts off with Nicole and Beniah. And remember, I'm not sure where Nicole and Beniah are at this point. I'm not sure if they're in Greece or if they're at a different location because I'm not sure how it works when you pick the wrong person and then you decide to pick the other one, which I'm surprised they even let them do that. I'm thinking, I wonder if they only allow like one person to do that, like change their mind. But anyway, they show them together somewhere talking and chatting, getting along. And then they go to Demi and Ollie. And Demi's talking about feeling insecure about Ollie meeting Catherine because they had the connection in the pods. And she did say she doesn't usually say how she feels, and she needs to work on saying how she feels. And Ollie's reassuring her, and he's saying all the right things. So I like that. I like that for her. They show Catherine and Freddie, and they're chatting about. Catherine's talking about how she hates that he puts him leaving the toilet seat up, and he was saying she sniffs a lot, and it was just a little jokey joke things that they were saying about each other. Um, and then they show Jasmine and Bobby, and Jasmine and Bobby are pretty uneventful. Nothing really happens with them. They're cute together. They seem like they like each other, but not a lot has happened with them so far. But when their mom comes in the picture, but that's later. Next, they show Maria and Tom, and they're talking, and they mention Ollie and Ollie and Demi, how they feel like they were uncomfortable together or whatever. And then they talk about themselves and how they have a natural rapport with each other. They show Nicole and Beniah, and I think they're in some vineyard or something. Again, that's why I'm like, I don't know where they are, but they're in some vineyard together. And they talk about how they're attracted to each other. And she says she's emotionally and physically attracted to him. And they're both talking about taking things slow, meaning sex. And she seems happy, but she's hard to read though. At one minute I'm thinking, oh yeah, she's really into Benaya, and then I'm like, is she? But I think that just might be her. But remember, like how weird she was with Sam. I just saw a hint of that with Benaya in the vineyard, just a hint. But I think she likes him though. I do. They then cut to Sabrina and Steven on horses, and they get to their location and they're talking about the future and where they'll live because he lives, I think, in London and she lives in Belfast. So they were talking about that. Not a lot going on with them at that point. And then they show Catherine and Freddie walking on the beach, and they were talking about telling their friends about this with meeting each other. And then Catherine goes on to say that she's insecure, and she talks about needing reassurance, which I feel like insecure is the buzzword of this season because a lot of the women are saying that. Um, like who was it? Demi kind of said that, and Jasmine said that, and so anyway, she's talking about being insecure, and then she asks Freddie if he's ever cheated. And he's honest with her. He hesitates for a second. He's honest with her, and he told her he did, or he has, and that he regrets it. Um, he was trying to continue to speak about it, and she was talking over him, and it was obvious she was bothered by it. And she said she always feels like once a cheat, always a cheat. Um, and I kind of get how she feels that way. I get it. I used to think that once a cheat, always a cheat, but I don't know. I don't think it as much anymore. I think a person can. I think people can change, but they typically don't. So that's why I think once a cheat, always a cheat. Not really, but um. So after that, they show Benaya. Well, Benaya and Nicole meet up with everyone. It's a get together, and then they show Catherine and this is probably later on that evening, and they show Catherine, and she still looks really bothered. She looks so bothered, and it shows. The hosts show up and they're telling them that they talked to Beniah and Nicole. And they're like, yeah, we didn't expect to see you here with this guy, because they thought she was going to be with Sam. And at this point, I don't know. I still don't know what happened with her and Sam, because later on they kind of talk about how they saw each other. So I guess when after they choose the person they're going to be with, they must get together for a couple of days, because they make it seem like we don't see them anymore. And then um not that they don't make it seem like, but we don't see them anymore. And then all of a sudden they're together on the vacation in Greece. So that what happens in between there, I guess they do get together for like 2 days. So the hosts then say, they mention like, have you guys had physical connections? And Sabrina and Steve, well, I think it was Steven who was like, yeah, we did, basically letting them know they consummated their relationship. And then they kind of pan to Demi, and she looks a little sad. Like, I don't know if that was editing, but from the way they did it, it looked like she was sad. So I don't think at this point her and Ali even consummated their relationship. The hosts then tell them about the apartments and getting their phones back, and then meeting families. And at this point, the wedding is in 2 weeks. So then they show the hosts leave and let them enjoy their last night in Greece. And the guys are talking to Beniah. And Beniah, he really likes Nicole, and he's really happy with Nicole. And then Jasmine, they show Jasmine hugging Demi, and she's worried about her happiness. And everybody's telling Demi she seems different, like she's not herself. And to be honest, the way they were, I mean, I know they probably see things, or they see things that we don't get to see, but it was almost like, I feel like everybody's thinking Ali doesn't like Demi, or like she's out of his league. It's weird. No, I mean, and I know Jasmine looked genuinely like she was concerned about Demi, but she was just saying she's not herself. And Demi went on to say, well, she and Ali aren't touchy feely, and then they pan to during these conversations, they're panning back and forth from Demi to Ali. So they pan to Ali, and to me, Ali's talking, and I don't know if it's because everyone's asking him how he feels about Demi and it's annoying him, but it comes off as him trying to convince himself that Demi's the one. I could be wrong at this point, but that's just kind of the read I had on it. And then they show Demi talking to Catherine, which I don't know if she should be talking to Catherine, because Catherine had a connection with Ali in the pods. And I know as friends in the pods, the women had connections too. But sometimes you don't need to tell the op everything, because Catherine doesn't give me that she can trust her. And remember when Catherine said, I just don't see them working, Ali and Demi working in the real world. And I couldn't figure out why she said that. The only thing I could think of is she's thinking, Demi physically probably isn't his type because she's not skinny. But anyway, that never sat well with me when Catherine said that. So then, Catherine says, oh, Demi's not showing that she's happy, and that she needs to show them that she's happy. I don't know why she needs to show them. Now, I know they knew her in the pods, and maybe she does seem a little different outside. I don't know. But just coming from Catherine, it just bugs me. Freddie's talking to Steven about Catherine asking him if he cheated. And so that whole conversation is going on. And Freddie just looks so sad to me. He does not look happy. He's definitely got that funeral director vibe to be so young. He just, I don't know, something about him. He doesn't seem happy with Catherine to me. So then they pan back to Ali, and Ali's sitting with Jasmine and Jasmine's man, Bobby. And Jasmine keeps asking Ali if he likes Demi. And he's getting frustrated. And Jasmine actually seems like she's a little tipsy too. She may not be, but it looked like she was. And so she keeps asking him, and he's getting frustrated. So then they cut to Demi's and her conversation, and she's defending her relationship. So I don't know where all this is coming from, where everybody's just focused on them and their relationship. but they're pretty invested. Um, I will say, as far as Jasmine is concerned, it does come off as her genuinely caring about Demi, and I feel like she may see something, because to me, it does feel like Ollie's for trying to convince himself that Demi's right for him, and Demi as well is trying to convince herself that their relationship is great. That's kind of what it seems like right now at this point. I could change my mind later. Um, so Ollie's so annoyed. He's like, I want to leave. I want to leave. So he says, nobody has his back, and he gets up and he kind of storms off, because he's just annoyed, and I can see why he was annoyed. They were really coming at him, so I don't blame him. So that night ends, and it's the next morning, and they show Demi and Ollie, and he tells her he has doubts, which sure, this experiment is crazy, so of course he has doubts, and she takes that information well because she feels the same way, and he says they're both not themselves and they're overwhelmed, and which makes sense with this experiment, and Demi thinks it'll be better once they get back to London and they get in their apartments and, the next phase of this. So, and I think they both have a really healthy approach to the situation and they're not delusional. They both know they have doubts and it's scary. So everyone is packing to go. They show everyone packing to go to the apartments. And they show Freddie and Kat talking while they're packing. And she brings up the cheating again. I don't know. Freddie just seems miserable. Okay, I'm just gonna say this. Freddie seems miserable. He seems sad, but he does. He says he's afraid of losing her. So I mean, okay. I mean, he's into her, but I don't know. Every time they show poor Freddie, he just looks like he's so unhappy. Maybe that's his normal look, seriousness, but I don't know. I don't know. So it's move-in day to the apartments, and let's see, they're showing Jasmine and Bobby talking, and Jasmine's talking to him about how she's really jealous, and she doesn't like him being on his phone a lot. Oof, red flag, man. Or not red flag, but future problems, I should say. Um, so then they show Beniah and Nicole moving into their apartment. He tells her he wants to properly propose to her, and he does, and it's sweet. I also think they may have consummated their relationship at this point. I think something was said that made me think that. And then they show Maria and Tom. Well, they show Catherine and Freddie, and they're having that cheating conversation again. I don't think out of all the couples at this point, I really don't feel like Freddie and Catherine are going to get married. I feel like Catherine's going to say no. I don't think Freddie will. I think Freddie will say yes. I think Catherine will say no. That's what I'm thinking at this point. But the other couples so far, I feel like could make it. I don't know if. Well, let me just go on and then I'll do my predictions at the end. So Maria and Tom are talking. They're in bed talking, and Maria says he's on his phone too much. And then they talk about the jobs. And she asked him what he thought when he found out she was a makeup artist. And she said, "Did you judge me a little bit?" And he said, "Yeah, I did." And I was like, "Whoa." And he said that he feels like, I feel like it's not a real job and it's not a respectable job. And he said that's important for couples to kind of match one another, right? And she was getting frustrated. And the whole time they're talking, they're holding hands. And I could tell in her mind, she was like, trying to keep it romantic because she was still holding his hand. But I could tell she wanted to let it go. And he kind of, they went back and forth. And when they show, when they do their little interviews, and she was like, "Who is he to judge me?" And she was very annoyed at that and the way he thought, about her job. He just felt like a makeup artist isn't a real job. So I think that episode ended. That was it for that episode. with the whole Maria and Tom conversation. So then episode 6, they show Freddie and Kat shopping. Man, Kat is just so annoyed at Freddie all the time. I'm telling you. So they're shopping, and she says he jokes around too much. And the conversation they were having, she was saying how she wants him to go shopping with her. See, now here's the thing with that. For me, I feel like, why drag your man shopping if he doesn't want to go? But I'm a pretty independent person. But I'm like, why would you? Why? I think, to me, it comes off needy. Why would you want someone there with you that doesn't want to be there, like shopping? I don't understand. And she was telling him that she wants him to be there because he's her man, basically. And he was like, yeah, I'll go. But he basically said, I'll go even though I don't want to. But I don't get. Like, why would you find comfort in having someone there that's miserable where they are shopping because they don't want to go, but you're having fun shopping? I don't get that. I don't get that at all. Anyway, so while they were shopping, he picked up a pair of pink shoes, and he was like, do you have this in a size 13 or whatever size he is? And they panned to her, and she looked like so disgusted, and he was just joking, and her whole body language changed. I don't know, that she's super annoyed with him. And I've said this before, but like, little things that annoy you about someone and you try to push them aside. If you get married and you're with them for a long time, those things will really get on your nerves, and they will be amplified. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't think they're going to make it. So anyway, oh, and then she said to him, oh my gosh, I don't remember what prompted this, but it might have been the shopping thing. And he was like, saying, oh no, Freddie said, I think I'm too much for her. When they showed his interview, he said, I think I'm too much for her. I think I need to tone it down. And I'm like, wow. And he looked so sad. And I think he said, with his accent, I couldn't really make it out, but I think he said it was sad. That was sad. I mean, because he's talking about changing himself because it's too much for her. I don't know. So he said something to her to reassure her. And I don't remember what it was, but he kind of patted her on the back or something. And she said, don't pat me like I'm a dog. I'm not a dog. And she walked off. I don't know. I don't know these two. So after that scene, that cringy scene, they show Ollie and Demi, and they're shopping for dinner because they're going to cook for Demi's friend. They're going to cook for Demi's friends. And Ollie's going to make vegan guac. I didn't even know Ollie was vegan. I missed that. So after that, they pan to Jasmine and Bobby, and they're eating, and she's mentioning how she's insecure because social media makes her. She's insecure about social media and her man being on social media, and she mentions that he. She mentioned she found some music video of Bobby's, and I guess that's making her feel like he's maybe an opportunist and she can't trust him. But they didn't stay on that subject too much. But she did let him know that she saw it. He said that was in the past. I'm not sure what. Well, Bobby, I think he said he does sales for a living. So I don't know if that was just like he was inspiring to be a musician or what. But I mean, who doesn't? There's a lot of people who have little videos out there. But she went on to tell him how in previous relationships she used to check phones and just how jealous she was. And Bobby told her, he said, I'll reassure, he said, I'll give you reassurance. And he actually said all the right things. I like Bobby. I like them together. They showed, so Demi's friends show up for the dinner, and they talk about kids and adoption because, if you remember, Demi, I think she has endometriosis, so she can't have kids, or has trouble having kids. And her friends like him. They like him a lot. And that worked, they're eating the little dinner they cooked for him. And that went well. Then they go to Freddie's house. Catherine goes to Freddie's house. And she said he's bougie. She said his house is bougie. He has a nice house, and I guess he does a lot of work on it. Um, so after that, they kind of pan to Tom or they go to Tom and Maria, and they're out to dinner. And Maria was telling Tom that in her culture, there's no PDA, and it's offensive, and he said to her, he said, I'd just be showing affection. She said, but it doesn't look that way. It wouldn't look that way to my mom or to my family. I'm thinking they discussed this in the pods because she's Muslim. Yeah. Um, so they talk about that. He also asked her what her dad would think, and she gets a little choked up, about him not being there. And he keeps asking about her dad. He keeps making her cry. But I mean, that's sweet though. They then show Ollie and Demi, and they talk. She said this was kind of cute. She said to him she notices like that he paces a lot and stuff like that. And he looks at her and he tells her, I don't really tell many people this, but I have ADHD, and it sounds like from what he's saying it's pretty severe. And she noticed it, and he was saying like little things that you do that only takes you a couple of minutes to do, it takes him forever to really wrap his mind around doing it. And she was like reassuring him and saying, but you get your point across and you articulate what you want to say so well. And I thought that was sweet. And he told her, he said, thank you for understanding me. So that was a really nice moment. And at this point, I'm feeling like they are really connecting. I feel like out of all the couples, they have connected emotionally the best. So I'm rooting for them. And then they show Freddie. Freddie's family comes to meet Catherine. So Freddie's sisters. And his brother and his mom, I think his mom too, and Freddie's brother, he talked about him in the pods. He has a brother with Down syndrome, and he said, he was telling, I don't know if it was Catherine he was talking to in the pods, but he said, if something ever happened, he would be the one to take care of his brother. They then show they show Sabrina and Steven. And Sabrina meets Steven's friends, and they knew nothing about the situation. They thought it was crazy. I believe Steven's brother was there too. But they do think that he looks happy and they approve. So then they go back to Freddie and his family, and his sister said that he seems reserved. And she wants him to be his own person, and she wants him to feel like he's good enough. So because family will see that, and then they go to Maria and Tom, and they're eating with her family, and they talk religion, and just being a good person. I think Maria said that, and they mentioned him, or Maria brought up, because I think the family asked, have you had any problems? And Maria brought up that he was snotty and judgmental. He had been snotty and judgmental. I don't think they dug too much more into why. They might have, but I don't remember if they did or not. And her sister takes Tom aside and she speaks with him, and she mentions their dad, and he mentions their dad again, and the sister gets really emotional, and he kind of comforts her. And then he speaks with her. He goes to speak with her mom. They cut to Beniah and Nicole at this point. Beniah's talking about how he should greet her parents. So the parents show up and they have dinner. They like him, but they're concerned they're concerned because Nicole had been married previously. Beniah, and he really loves her family, and Nicole really feels like things will work out with the two of them. And I think it will too. I'm rooting for them as well. Now, later on, though, Nicole throws a little monkey wrench in the plan, and she tells Beniah that she wants to meet with Sam and give him back the ring and the bracelet that he gave her. Beniah's not really, he doesn't like that idea at all. He keeps saying that he doesn't want Sam to disrespect her. This whole Sam thing, though, there's something weird. I feel like there's a big part we're missing, because even in the pods, remember when he came back from the pods and made that comment about her kind of stuttering when she said, "I hope you can pick me up, or you'll be able to pick me up." And Beniah was looking at Sam funny, and I didn't think that was a lot. What Sam repeating that was that big of a deal, but Beniah was looking like that's just one more thing. Like there was other things that Sam had been saying, and so he was already suspicious of him. But you couldn't tell because it was almost like, is he just because they're after the same girl? But now I'm really feeling like there's a missing piece to the puzzle, because unless Benaiah is just super dramatic, he keeps, he'll keep saying that he doesn't want Sam to disrespect her, and he acts like he hates him. They then show Tom, and he's talking with Maria, and he told Maria that his mom won't be at the wedding. So that's interesting. So then that was so then after that, the couples are getting ready for the party where they all get together, and where they bring back other people that were in the pods. This part's always fun. So they get to see, the people that they connected with but didn't pick. So they showed Tom telling Beniah at the party at the bar, there at the bar, about buying breakfast. Oh, that was the other thing. Tom, he was talking to Maria. They were having a conversation, and apparently they went out to breakfast, and he bought, or she paid, but she said, I'll get this, and he was like, okay. So I don't know if like she was testing him or what, but he said okay. And then later she said, he said it seemed like something was bothering her. And she said, I need to talk to you. Like in my culture, the man takes care of everything. And, my mom would have freaked out if she saw that you let me pay for something. And if you remember back in the pods, they were the couple that when they were talking about having kids, and she said that she wants to be home with her kids. And then he had a problem. He's like, I want my wife to work. I don't want her to like just stay at home. That was them. And then she said, well, I don't want to miss anything with my kids. I want to be home with at least the first couple of years, or 2-3 years, or something to that effect. And he said, oh, I can understand that. Again, put a pin in that, because that's going to be a problem. That's going to be too many things have happened. He doesn't respect her job. He initially didn't agree with her wanting to stay home with kids. And now she's the whole having a problem with her. He didn't have a problem with it, but that's an issue, like her saying, that's a problem. So it's just a couple of those things with them. They may be the second couple, I think, that will not say yes at the altar. So then he's telling Tom about it, or Tom is telling Beniah about it. And I don't know, Tom doesn't seem too bothered by the buying, him paying for things. He didn't seem too bothered by that, but I just feel like they mentioned it for a reason, so it's probably going to come up again. So Catherine and Maria were talking about their love languages, and Catherine was saying how she was talking about sexy underwear or something, and Freddie was like, you could walk past me butt naked, I wouldn't think anything of it. And they kind of laughed. And Catherine was also telling Maria that they said something about telling each other they love each other, and Catherine was like, yeah, but he just gets weird. And so Maria said, what is he saying? She said, if I say I love you, he'll be like, I love you too. Like there's so many things about him that bug her, that I like I said, I don't see it working. I don't know. So then they show they show Beniah and Tom talking. And Beniah mentions how he's not going to tolerate any disrespect from Tom again, or from Sam again. Again, missing piece somewhere. And so then Tom he mentions Tosh, because remember, Tosh is the other person he connected with in the pods. Well, Tosh then shows up, and Tom's head was turned. He said she was more glamorous than he imagined she would be. So he was kind of feeling her. They were talking, and one of the girls that was talking to Maria asked her, said, it was one of the girls from the pods. They called them, what they call them, pod. I forgot what the name of it was, but anyway, one of the girls that was in the pod that they didn't really feature, the Pod Squad. That's what they called them. But anyway, she was saying, how do you feel about that? And Maria said, it doesn't bother me. Yeah, I kind of believed her at the time, but I know then it looked like it bothered her a little bit, but I don't think it bothered her much. So then they show Ollie, and he talks about how solid he and Demi are, and says that no one could turn his head. But you know how production's messy. So then a girl walks in. I think her name was Charlotte, and I don't remember her from the pods. But Charlotte walks in, and his head is turned. He talks about her looks, but he does. He says, Demi and I are solid. So they show Demi talking with one of the girls, and she's talking about how she's back. The old Demi's back, and she's confident, and she won't, she's not going to go to the insecure place again. And it actually seemed believable. It didn't seem like she was trying to convince herself, because it did look like her and Ollie were really getting along a lot better, connecting. So then Sam enters. And Steven is sitting with Beniah, and it's so funny because Steven is like, be cool, be cool, be cool. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know why Beniah is so, like, he hates Sam so much. I wish they would just show us whatever happened in the pods. Maybe they'll do that at the reunion, like whatever happened in the pods that we didn't see. If anything, I don't know if anything happened. Maybe he just can't stand them because they were going after the same girl. I don't know. But I do feel like Sam might have said something. So anyway, Sam makes his way over to Beniah, to shake his hand or whatever, and give that little guy side pat hug or whatever. And Beniah was not feeling it at all. It was definitely a church hug at best. So Sam goes, "We'll talk later." And Beniah said, "Maybe." And Sam was looking at him like he didn't understand what all the animosity was. But Beniah was just like, "Maybe we'll talk. I don't know if I want to talk to you or not." So then they pan to Catherine and Freddie. And Catherine asks Freddie what he thinks of the girls. Loaded question, okay? Catherine being the way she is, and then asking him what he thinks of the girls. Come on, Freddie can't win with this one. He's not going to win with this one. So he tells her the girls, they're nice. The girls are all nice looking, right? And then it was kind of awkward, and he says it again. He said, "Yeah, the girls are nice looking." And then she kind of snaps at him. She snaps at him a lot. And she goes, "Okay, I heard you the first time. Like, that's weird." And then she went into this whole thing about how, how does he think that makes her feel that he keeps saying it? If she asked him that question, she would answer it and be done with it. Instead, he made it awkward, and he kept talking about it. Well, he felt awkward probably because you keep beating him down. Dang. So anyway, they show Sam talking to Ollie, and he says he doesn't know why Beniah's so sour towards him. Sam and Nicole talk, and he tells her he didn't want to rush things with them. And this is where I was like, oh, so they were together after the initial meeting. They were together because he said they didn't want to rush it. He was kind of asking her what happened, and he didn't want to rush anything. And then he says, because they showed this in the previews, when the first 4 episodes ended, and they showed him say to her, "But you wanted to sleep with me, and I didn't want to. Or you wanted to sleep with me, and I didn't want to." Now, when they showed that in the previews, I thought, this is something he's probably fabricating, or for some reason I didn't believe him. I thought maybe editing. I don't know what I thought, but I didn't think that was true. But when he said it to her, her response let us know that was true, which there's nothing wrong with her wanting to sleep with him. But I didn't think, I was just confused because I'm like, do they see each other? And I guess they do for those 2 days. So he mentioned that, and she kind of looked like, "Dude, why are you mentioning that?" Just a little bit, And so she said, "Well, maybe we have 2 different ideas of being physical." So I think that was her way of trying to say, I wasn't trying to sleep with you, but I was just trying to be physical with you. And, but he, again, so he said he was trying to respect her and he didn't want to be physical. So I'm confused. Not that it's not a problem that he didn't want to be physical, but it's unusual for a guy not to want to be physical. So it's making me wonder, like, I'm like, was he feeling her, or is he doing this whole thing, for a little bit of fame? And that's probably what Beniah's talking about with him. it's weird. But it seems like he likes her, but I don't know if it's that or if maybe his ego because she didn't want to. I don't know. Hopefully they'll get to the bottom of that during the reunion because that's whole their situation is very interesting and I like it. I like following this. Um, so after she gives him the bracelet and the ring back, and he tells her, "No, you keep it." And she's like, "No, I want you to have it. I don't want it to be any animosity. I don't want any problems. I don't want any hurt. And she was just saying, everything's all good." And so he does take the ring. I believe he does take the ring and the bracelet back. And Nicole goes over to Beniah, and she tells him, he's a good guy, and you know everything's good. I'm glad it's over with. And Beniah gets real annoyed. He's basically telling her, he's not a good guy, and he feels like Sam's not real, and he's pulling the wool over her eyes, and she's like, I know you feel that way. So I feel like they had some conversations off camera because again, the whole Beniah and the way he feels about Sam is just it's leaving something out. So then they go to Catherine, and she's upset with Freddie again. She says she's insecure and she needs attention. And I'm not sure where that came from. Oh, and by the way, when Sam walked in, Catherine said to Freddie, "Sam looks like her ex-boyfriend." And she just kind of laughed. Now, if he had said that to her, they'd still be talking about it. So anyway, she then starts talking to Sam. She goes over and starts talking to Sam, and she's flirting with him. And Freddie's just sitting there like, she's flirting with him, and they show her doing, and in her little interview, and she's like, when I'm feeling insecure, I need attention, and I unintentionally flirt. And she was asking Sam about the ring he was holding, and was like, "Can I have it?" It was very awkward, and she was clearly flirting with him. And he was like, "You got any friends?" So I bet you anything, something's gonna happen with them. They're gonna hook up. Something's gonna happen. And then Freddie's just sitting back there, and he's talking with one of the guys from the Pod Squad. And I don't know, it's just sad because Freddie just looks sad. But the other thing about Freddie is, though, my impression of him, like he's a good looking guy. He's a good looking guy, young, but he almost gives. I might have bodies in my basement. I'm not even kidding. There's something, and I don't know if it's. And I don't think it's because I know he's a funeral director, but it's something about Freddie that's off. I don't know what it is, but it's almost a little creepy. But anyway, that's just my take on Freddie. Tom is talking to Tosh, and she gives him a look. She's letting him know that she likes him, and she still likes him. Maria comes over. She finally gets up when, because they have been talking, and she comes over and she gets Tom, and they go walk away from Tosh. Oh, that's when Tosh gave Tom the look. Like she knew he was walking away, so she wanted to give him one last look. So I feel like that's gonna be trouble. Then they show Sam and Beniah talking. And so Beniah finally decided to talk to Sam because we didn't know if that was going to happen or not. And, Beniah tells Sam, he said, "I think you were there for all the wrong reasons." And Sam told him he was bitter. He was like, "I don't know why you're coming across as a bitter person." And then it starts to escalate like there was no more friendly, Mr. Nice Guy conversation. And he tells Beniah that Nicole wanted to sleep with him. And Beniah looks thrown off. You could tell he was rattled by that news. And then he just laughs in Sam's face because I think there was nothing else he could do. But that did tick Sam off, though. He was pissed. So Beniah basically told Sam he was being disrespectful, and that was like the end of that conversation. And then they show everybody mingling, and someone asks Nicole where Beniah was, and she said, "I'm not sure." And then they show Beniah off in a room by himself, and he was rattled. He was still rattled by Sam saying that Nicole wanted to sleep with him. So the next day, they show Beniah and Nicole and or not Beniah and Nicole, but they show Tom and Maria. And Tom tells Maria that Tosh told him that she did love him, that she loves him. And Maria was not happy with that. She said that's out of line, you know. And I get what she's saying, because at this point of the process, you know, he's already picked who he's with. Which a similar thing happened, and I mean that kind of happens all the time on Love Is Blind, though. But anyway, he let her. He was honest with her, and he let her know that that was it. So then we go on to Demi and Ali, and Ali meets Demi's family, and I think they meet at, like, I forgot where they were, a bar or something. And Demi's dad is so funny, the way he was looking at Ali. It was funny. But anyway, he almost looked like he had a few beers. I don't know. That's the look he had on his face. But all in all, they end up loving him. Everybody, they love Ali for her. And Ali, and again, Ali and Demi just looks right together. So everything looks good with them for now. And then they get to Catherine and Freddie. Oh Lord, Catherine. She's mad at him because they were having a conversation, and she said I think he must have finally stood up for himself and said something to her about snapping at him, because that was off camera. And he said something. She's like, yeah, I know. You keep telling me I'm to stop being bossy and snappy. You won't shut up about it. And I'm like, dang, he finally stands up for himself, and she was all over him. So he then mentions, this pisses her off even more, he mentions a prenup. And he said, you know, because would that bother you if we had a prenup? He said, I would want my house to go to my sister. And okay, so this is a little tricky, because in a normal relationship, and you've been boyfriend and girlfriend and you get married, it would sound strange to say that you want the house to go to your sister. It would go to your wife, right? But in this situation, because they're essentially strangers, I get what he's saying. I also get Catherine having a problem with it, because if you're married to him and something happens, you don't have a house. But it's just this situation is different. I feel like they could have something in the prenup saying, you know, a certain amount of time, maybe, or, you know, put a timeline in there somewhere, because this is not your typical circumstance like with a prenup. So I see both sides. I see both their sides. So she's not happy with that. And then they end that conversation. So the next episode, they show it's like 9 days till the wedding. And Nicole meets Beniah's mom and sister. And he said to her, you know, my mom and sister saw me going through it after the pods. I really went through it with them. And I was like, dang, what did he go through? Like, shoot. So when they show up, the mother looks really, I don't know, she looks nervous and distraught. You know, like she was concerned about her son, which I get it, she's a mom. But what my thing is, how distraught was he? Because they didn't know each other that long, and I know they built an emotional connection, but that made me think, God, what was he doing? So then they show Freddie, and he meets Catherine's friends. Again, Sam looks miserable. Okay. And they're out at a bar or something, and they're talking, and he feels like he won't satisfy her bougie ways, and she snaps at him again. And they're talking about the prenup, and her friends are telling her, I think at this point Sam kind of went to go get some drinks, and they talked about the prenup, and the one friend said that seems controlling. I don't think a prenup seems controlling at all, but you know, that was her opinion. And then they go to Ben, and Ben talks to his mom. Beniah talks to his mom, and they both approve after they talked, and they approve of Nicole and their relationship. And the mom did say to Nicole, you know, he didn't want to eat, and he was. See, now that right there, though, I guess he could love hard and be, but that's another thing that kind of makes me like that's a red flag type of thing. Like, why was he that devastated? Like, I don't know. Like, he was, and Sam's really calm. Not Sam, but Beniah is really a really calm person too. And you always feel like people who are super calm are quick to snap. So I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. And so anyway, they show Jasmine and Bobby. And again, not a lot happens with Jasmine and Bobby, but this situation with her mom, wow. So, okay, so first of all, Jasmine was telling Bobby that her mom used to go through her phone when she was younger, and she would, if she found a boy's phone number, she would call him and block him, or just talk about controlling, right? And I get it, she's a mom, it's your daughter, but, that's a lot. And so she was telling him that. And so he was about to meet her mom. So she was prepping him. She's like, my mom is tough. I'm telling you right now. Her mother shows up. It was awkward when they opened the door. And it probably had a lot to do with the cameras too. Her mom, I didn't realize her mom lives in the Philippines. So her mom came in and she just stood there. And it was so awkward. And she said she didn't really know what to say. And I get it. So, she was talking and she asked him about college, or she asked him something. He said, I didn't go to college. And she said, oh, and Jasmine was like, Mom, everybody doesn't need to go to college to be successful, because Sam does sales or something. And he sounds like he's pretty successful in what he does, because he said they were talking about location. And I think he lives in London, and the mom was saying it's expensive and he's to live in London. And he said, I can take care of it. I got this. I can take care of her with the money I make. And so she's back on. So she says something about when they were talking about college, and she said, well, sometimes it's hard to have a conversation with an uneducated person. I'm like, dang, he is right there. Like, and so Jasmine was a little uncomfortable. But I will say, Bobby handled it well. He was not fazed by her. Not if he was, he didn't show it. And the mom was like, and you need to tell me everything, basically about their relationship, everything that's going on. And she said, Jasmine was like, no, I don't want to tell you everything about our relationship, because that would put you off on him, which makes sense. If you're having an argument with your mate, and then you tell somebody, and it's a little argument, you got them all pissed off at him, and then you've forgiven them, and whoever you told is already pissed off at him. And that's her mother, so she's going to stay pissed off at him. So she was going back and forth with her mom, like, look. So then her and her mom went and they talked separately. And her mother, you could tell she wasn't doing it to be mean. She just worries about her daughter, because I guess her mom had been married twice. And she doesn't want her daughter to make the same mistakes, tale as old as time. And she's just concerned about that. So it is concern, but I don't know if her mother's going to be able to shake the way she is. And she also made a comment about moving to, like, what about the family or something. So I don't know, that'll be an issue possibly that'll be an issue for the mom, because I don't think Bobby cares. Not that he doesn't care, but he's not fazed by her mom behaving that way, when a lot of people might run off. So, because I think now with them, I don't know if I feel like they might, I feel like they may get married. They may say yes at the altar. So anyway, let's see what else. Maria meets Tom's sisters for dinner. And she brings up the whole paying for dinner and being a provider. And she also said that she didn't feel like she should pay any of Tom's mortgage. And Tom's sister she was like, she understood where she was coming from. It's kind of the same thing with Catherine, the whole Catherine and Freddie situation. Then they show Freddie meeting Catherine's family, and they love him, and so that there wasn't much there. So now it's 6 days into the wedding, and they go dress shopping. They try on their dresses. The dresses, I wasn't really blown away by anybody's dress. I really did like I liked Catherine's dress from the waist up. I thought the top of her dress was really pretty. Other than that, the rest of the dresses just look, basic wedding dresses, I guess. None of them were really like, oh my God, beautiful. You know when they try them on and they look really beautiful. None of the dresses really did that for me. I don't know. So anyway, and during the when they were dress shopping and the guys were getting their tuxes or whatever, or getting fitted for their suits, then they showed Demi, and she was giving a speech about how she didn't always seem pretty, or something about her always feeling like she was less than, and how she feels, she's happy and confident, and that was good. And I think her friends all were happy to hear that, and I think they believed her, so they'll leave her alone about that. Her friends meaning the people, the friends from the pods, because she did have a couple of her real friends there with her. So then they go on their last dates. I think before the wedding. I'm thinking that's what this was. So like Catherine and Freddie went on a lunch. Well, some of them went on lunches. Catherine and Freddie did pottery while they were talking. Freddie still looks sad, y'all. He still looks sad. I'm saying. Anyway, he tells her that one of his friends said he had mentioned to one of his friends that he loved her. And his friend said, "I've never heard you say that." So that made her super happy that he's never said he loved anyone. And because she needs that. I mean, at least she wasn't snapping at him. They then show Ollie and Demi. They're at like a Dave and Buster's date, having a good old time. And Ollie, says that Demi changed everything for him, which is really sweet. And then they showed Tom and Maria. They were having cocktails talking. And then Jasmine and Bobby were talking. And he was reassuring her, and she was crying and getting emotional. So that was the last, that was episode 5 through 9. And episode 10 should be the weddings, ? And 11 should be a reunion. So come back. I will do my review on the wedding and the reunion. And thanks for listening.